Welcome to the latest edition of Beyond the Arc. I'm John Gonzalez, alongside, for the first time, making his debut on Beyond the Arc. He played 8 years in the NBA, most with the Milwaukee Bucks, now a member of the CBS Sports family. John Henson is here. What's up, John?
What's up, man? Last game was a stinker, but we got a good one early on.
I'm glad that you're here to do this. We're running double Johns for the first time ever. Nobody's ever attempted it and even thought about it. Yeah, that last game, the Nuggets-Oklahoma City game, was not great. We'll get to that in a second. Oklahoma City absolutely throttled the Nuggets. We're going to start off, though, with the first game of the night, the Knicks and the Celtics. Up until that point, Oklahoma City changed this, but through the first 6 games, all 6 games in the semifinals won by the road team. The Knicks pull out another one in Boston, John, by 1 point. They were down 20 again. They won again. It ties their biggest playoff comeback in franchise history from game 1 when they did it the first time. The Celtics had 15 straight misses in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks didn't get their first lead until 2 minutes left in the fourth. John, if you're the Knicks, you're thrilled. And if you're the Celtics, what is going on?
Well, if you're the Celtics, you live by the 3 and you die by the 3. I don't think we've ever seen it as much as we've seen it this last couple games. I talked about on the show yesterday, like, you have to respect the game, take what the game gives you. And, unfortunately, I don't know if it was Reggie Miller on the call. He was like, the Celtics are playing with fire. They are playing with fire. And it came back to bite them once again. Because when you have the most clutch player on the other team in the NBA this season, by the numbers, not by just votes, this is just a numbers thing, you don't want to be down the stretch hoping that he misses shots, and you see what he did in the fourth. I mean, he's the reason that they came out on top. And now, the pressure is on. I can't wait to see game 3.
Game 3 on Saturday afternoon at MSG. You can see, for those of you watching on YouTube Live with us right now, fourth quarter in the series, Jalen Brunson has been excellent, 20 points compared to the other guy who we're going to talk about right now, Jayson Tatum, who has disappeared in the fourth quarter, just 6 points on 1 of 12 shooting. Let's talk about the end of the game there, because it wasn't just Jalen Brunson who got the Knicks back into the game and saved the game for him. It was once again Mikal Bridges and his defense. He was excellent in the overtime game, and then he was excellent in the fourth quarter, the end of the fourth quarter tonight. He and OG ended up blocking Tatum at the end of the game. So what happened? What did you think of fourth quarter? They're down 1. They decide to inbound the ball. The Celtics do. They don't call a timeout. Joe Mazzulla was asked about it, and he said that the play before worked, where Jayson Tatum inbounded the ball, went coast to coast, threw down a dunk. He basically said he called the same thing, and they wanted to save that final timeout. But unfortunately, for best intentions, Mikal Bridges and OG sort of walled off Tatum. Tatum looked lost, jumped into the air, was looking for a teammate. I guess he was looking for a shot at first, but he couldn't get the ball off. And then again, it gets blocked by Mikal Bridges and end of game. I thought it was a disastrous final possession for them, and a disastrous Jayson Tatum, who just has not been good in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you want to say that timeout because something does go wrong. You want to be able to advance the ball so you have at least a shot, right?
So you were okay with not calling the timeout?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Not letting the defense get set. I just don't know if one-on-one against OG Anunoby at the end of the game is the right move. Stylistically,
two incredible defenders are right in your face.
You've got Mikal Bridges on Jaylen Brown. So I think there should have been some sort of pick and roll, right? Maybe get Karl Towns in a switch, but lining up those wing defenders even hard, I don't think that's the best strategy to get a good shot off, which clearly the Celtics have not done the last few games when they have the possession. Where you look down at the Knicks, they're getting a switch. They're getting maybe Horford on them, or they're getting, Drew Holiday's on the island. And so with Brunson and, let's just be honest, Brunson and Tatum are different beasts in the fourth quarter. It is what it is. So I'm still kind of shook at. I mean, we've never. I mean, for a couple teams to be down 0-2, it just.
I mean,
blowing
for the Knicks, not just to win the first 2 games on the road at Boston, but to beat Boston at all. They were 0-10 against Boston, Cleveland, and Oklahoma City.
Yep.
This year. They got swept by the Celtics in the regular season series. And now all of a sudden they go into Boston and win 2 at the Garden. Now you're going back to the other Garden, and you're going to feel really good about yourself going back to MSG. But I just want to spend a little bit more time here on Tatum and also Jaylen Brown. Those 2 guys are their 2 best players, right? And they have not played well. They have not shot well through these first 2 games. And what is it about Boston where they have these leads? They're up 20 in both games, John. And in both games, they take their foot off the gas and allow the Knicks to creep back into it. I mean, look, you played. There's a psychological aspect to it here where, I don't know what it is. Things get tight, or at least in the series, things get tight. And all of a sudden here comes the Knicks, and Tatum and Jaylen Brown absolutely disappeared. This is, by the way, we're looking at Tatum's full shot chart from tonight. A lot of red X's on that shot chart.
Yeah. If they're going to shoot these, I think we talked about it 2 years ago before they won it. Tatum was just taking a lot of tough shots. They
contested, settling. He did it in game 1 at the end of the fourth quarter, where instead of, you and I were talking about it on HQ, where we were both like, drive, man, the lane is wide open. And instead he settled for a step back 25-footer.
Yes. And, the Celtics strategy is shoot the 3, and, we shoot more threes, we make more threes, we win the game. But just credit to the Knicks for just staying solid. But, if there has been one thing that the Celtics do is that they give up leads. I remember the Atlanta Hawks game. They gave them like a 30-point lead a couple years ago. And this has kind of been a reoccurring pattern of not being able to keep leads, because you know what? When you go cold from 3 and the other team continues just to wear it down, take twos, what the Knicks have been doing, take twos, and Mikal Bridges just hits these timely threes, it seems like every game. You get in a spot where now the pressure is rising. Now we're hunting for more threes, and it's just a snowball effect. And I will say I think the Celtics are going to probably win Game 3, but the way it's been going in these playoffs, I just don't know, man. This is, defending champs to be down 0-2 to a team that couldn't beat good teams.
Could not beat good teams.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. We saw the Warriors go through their struggles, 3-1, right? But I guess this is one of those moments. What are they going to do?
It's really staggering. Game 1, obviously, the Celtics took the most threes in NBA playoff history and missed the most threes in NBA playoff history. They took 60, only made 15. Tonight, they took 40, less than they took during the regular season on average, when they averaged 48. They only made 10, though, John. That works out to 25%. So not great. They're definitely settling there. I do want to talk, though, a little bit about the Knicks, because in game 1, you and I had HQ, and I basically spent the entire time throttling the Celtics and saying that it wasn't so much a Knicks win as it was a Celtics resounding loss. And I also said that I thought that the math was still going to work out in the favor of the Celtics. Well, it turns out that wasn't right tonight. Right. But I want to mention just the resilience of the Knicks to be down 20 on the road in consecutive games, and to fight your way back into it, to not give up, to keep your head right, to keep getting into your offense, to try to play defense, to try to shut down the main guys, and Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think that there's a real resilience with these Knicks that was overlooked by me, certainly in game 1, but not tonight in game 2. I thought that they were awesome to get back into this game in game 2. What goes into something like that when you're down that much on the road against a team that you've only beaten 1 out of 5 times, and you're like, we're just going to keep plugging?
Yeah, you kind of got to take it in increments, right? So, I thought, I'll give you an example for the Denver game because it's a little more fresher in my memory. I was like, okay, well, if Denver wants to have a chance at halftime, this needs to be under 17, right? So in the huddle, you're just kind of like, hey, look, we're down 20. Let's get it under 15 with 4 minutes left. Or, hey, going into the fourth, we need this to be a 10-point game. And that's kind of how we play those bigger leads. You just take it step by step, win the quarter, win the 4 minutes, win the first timeout. So that's what the Knicks did. They slowly chopped away, and then that game pressure, right? That got to the Celtics, because you got to think there was no pressure on the Knicks. Similar to
they already won 1 in Boston. You're feeling good.
Yeah, and Haliburton doesn't shoot that 3 if it's 0-1. He doesn't shoot that 3. But they're up 1-0 already. Hey, let me do a Luka from last year, and let's try to steal this one. We already got one. We flipped it. So the pressure wasn't on the Knicks in basketball. When you have no pressure, trust me, it is a lot easier to shoot that ball. I promise you.
I bet you're playing with house money there. I want to put that Zach Cram tweet back up for us. So Zach Cram, my former teammate at the Ringer here, he's great with stats. He's over at ESPN now. The Celtics had a 98% win probability in game 1 and lost. They had a 99% win probability in game 2 and lost. If you are the Celtics, you have to be absolutely kicking yourself. I thought after game 1, what Joe Mazzulla was asked about their shot selection, John, and he said that he was okay with it. He would have changed maybe 5 to 10 shots. And we had mentioned that step back 25-footer at the end of regulation by Jayson Tatum was one of those shots he would have changed. I thought that his composure, Mazzulla's, and not panicking and saying, this is like the way we play and we're going to be fine. I thought that was correct after game 1. After game 2, I'm feeling a little urgency, John. I'm a little bit concerned if I'm the Celtics. And you said that you think that they'll win game 3, but like, what's the message if you're Mazzulla, because you just tricked off 2 games at home?
Yeah, I think if you're the Celtics, you've got to trust your game plan, trust your strategy, trust what's worked.
You're just doubling down, going back.
Yeah, like if I'm Joe Mazzulla, hey, look, we're in this position. We've kind of been here before in a sense. Like, hey, look. The numbers should add. The basketball's a game of averages, right? And I truly believe that. So the Celtics are going to break out of this slump. Now, hopefully, it's before Game 3 because we know the history was behind that. But you've got to stick with what you've done, right? The last 3 years, finals, championship. You're down 0-2. This is going to test the championship heart, the resilience. We've seen the Warriors, the Cavs, right? These teams that come to these pivotal moments where, hey, what are we going to do? So this is a moment for the Celtics to kind of show us some championship mettle because, we kind of got off the Knicks a little bit. And I think we need to give them a little more credit because –
Oh, for sure.
we thought they were a championship. Then we kind of, they're not championship team. I mean, right now, as it stands, they've got to be the favorite to come out the East, like the betting favorite at this point.
I mean, I would still expect. I mean, I'm not a bettor. If I were, I would still expect the Celtics to respond to this. But it's not going to be easy for them at all. I want to thank everybody who's joining us live on YouTube. Reminder to hit that like button, leave a comment. If you throw a comment in, we might use it on the show, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then if you click on that little bell symbol, you'll get notified when we go live. John's going to be joining us at times. Me and Bill are jumping on all the time after games as the postseason continues here. We're going to take a quick break, and then on the other side, I want to talk a little bit more about the Knicks. And then I got a question for you, John, about how worried the Celtics should be. We'll do that. And then we're going to get into, finally, a home team won a game in the second round. Oklahoma City absolutely demolished the Nuggets tonight. Killed them. All of that. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up. This is Beyond the Arc. All right, welcome back to Beyond the Arc. A reminder, we're also a podcast. You can find us wherever you get your favorite shows. Please download, subscribe, and leave a review. Something that you mentioned there about the Knicks. This season, they hadn't been good against Oklahoma City, hadn't been good against the Cavs, hadn't been good against Boston, 0-10, and we didn't feel like they were necessarily championship caliber. I'm still not sure that they are, but I do think that the way that they've responded here, because look, the Pistons gave them a hard series, and there's a world where the Pistons end up winning that series. The Knicks crash out in the first round. Everybody's talking about Tibbs, blaming somebody. Maybe Tibbs gets fired instead. They win a gritty series. You got to learn how to win in the playoffs, right? They win that series. And now everybody down. I don't think that there's anybody, I didn't see any national pundit anywhere, including me and our NBA insider, Bill Ryder, who picked the Knicks to win this series. So for them to start they have to be feeling really good about themselves. And yeah, I don't know how much you know about Knicks fans, but they're delightfully obnoxious, and boy, are they feeling themselves right now.
I worked with MSG when I first stopped playing. That was like my first kind of TV gig. So I did a sports betting show with them. So I got to go to all the games.
Okay, you know them.
A couple 10 days with the Knicks during the pandemic kind of era. And the biggest distinction between Knicks fans and other arenas, you have a 20% capacity. Oh, they were talking the whole game. Now you get the Knicks fans an arena where there's nobody in it. I mean, they were chirping and cursing and yelling the whole game, and that is Knicks. Those are the Knicks fans. That's what they do. They chirp and they talk. And I mean, you see the crowd outside the arena after every game. The bing bong.
The bing bong. Well, what do you think it's going to be like? What do you think it's going to be like on Saturday? It's a bummer that that game is in the afternoon, but still, what do you think the atmosphere is going to be like in MSG, up 2-0, the crowd, the whole bet? I mean, that place is going to be outrageous.
It's going to be buzzing, man. The energy. I always remember when we played our first home game as kind of not necessarily like a underdog, but like kind of a favorite, and we were down, 0-2. to the Celtics. The energy in the arena, the buzz. Now you're talking about the Mecca, right? Celebrity Row is going to be filled with celebrities, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be.
Ben Stiller and
I mean, and
Spike
Boston, New
and
York,
Tracy
you know, Celtics,
Morgan. Yeah.
Knicks, like this is just a classic kind of playoff series. Credit to the Knicks for getting back on track, right? They had a couple bad years, but I mean, it's theater, right? This is what we want to see as NBA fans. I sat down and watched the game today, and I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. It just
The series has been a very entertaining,
yeah,
surprisingly so series,
yep.
despite the fact that the Celtics were up 20 in both games. I'm sure if you're a Boston fan, you're not feeling that way at all. For the neutrals among us, and then certainly for the Knicks fans, you're feeling really good about this. So game 3 on Saturday at MSG, joined here, John Gonzalez and John Henson, formerly of the NBA, played 8 years. Now our teammate here at CBS Sports Network. John, I want to ask you one more thing before we move on to that other game from tonight. Who do you think's in bigger trouble right now, the Cavs or the Celtics? The Cavs also lost 2 games at home. Unfortunately for them, they also are missing Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter. We'll see if any of them play in game 3. The Celtics are ostensibly healthy outside of Kristaps Porzingis, who obviously does not look right. Something's going on with him. He only played 14 minutes tonight. He had 8 points and 4 rebounds, just took 5 shots. Something's off there. He has an illness. But of those two, who's in bigger trouble right now?
Oh, easily the Cavs. I've said this since the beginning of the playoffs. The Pacers are front runners. Now, if you get them behind the 8 ball, you're going to be able to probably fold them up. But if they get in front of you, I mean, you see Tyrese Haliburton, he turns to the Cleveland bench right after the shot. He does the big kahunas dance. Like, this is what the Pacers are. So I'm worried because now you got a team that's really good at home. They like to run high octane, high
Playing
energy,
well, yeah.
get banged up cast team. I mean, Celtics, I hate that the Cavs are not healthy because I think it's going to be a tough series for them to come out, especially with Garland out. But we're going to get to see how good these teams are. I saw someone on X the other day were like, "Are the Cavs remember when Atlanta Hawks were like number 1 seed? And they like just could not
Yeah,
win,
yeah.
always lose, right, to LeBron or
The Al
someone." So,
Horford Hawks, yeah.
yes,
Kyle
the
Korver,
Horford
all
Hawks,
those guys, yeah.
they could had 5 or 6 All Stars and couldn't get past the second round. So people are starting to murmur the Cavs are in that territory. So they're going to have to make some noise. Donovan Mitchell's going to have to probably go for 50 again.
I mean, he was incredible in game 2, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, which is just wasting that effort was a huge bummer. Let me ask you, as a former player, Tyrese Haliburton recently in the Athletic poll was voted the most overrated player in the NBA. Now, there were only like 70 something respondents, so it's not a huge sample size given that there's 450 players in the NBA. However, in the same way that like Rudy Gobert, people love to hate Rudy Gobert, and he does not have a lot of fans among your NBA brethren. As a former player, what is it about Tyrese Haliburton that so many players just like don't want to give him credit or don't like him? I mean, he's been clutch this postseason.
Yeah, how that usually works is, as an athletic guy, he comes to the locker room and says, "Hey, I'm taking a random survey. Do you want to be on it?" You say yes. You say no. Majority of guys say no.
Yeah.
I don't think Giannis is saying that Tyrese Halliburton's overrated. I think it's, I mean, it could be the 9th or 10th guy on the bench. I never voted on those polls personally. So
you don't put much stock in that.
I don't put much thought into it because, unless you're saying I took a poll of all the All-Stars or I took a poll of all the GMs, like, yeah, it's 450 players. Like,
yeah, and you had like 70 something people respond to that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, who's you ask? Like, you know what I'm saying? Would you ask, Precious Achua from the Knicks? Like, does his opinion matter? I'm not saying it doesn't, but
Precious
like,
catching strays on
I'm just saying, like, like seriously, like, okay, like that's why I never did it, because what's John Henson gonna say? LeBron James overrated? That sounds kind of like I'm hating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So poke the bear. Do you need to give someone who already had the motivation not playing as well as he wanted to more motivation? And I think it's just I don't know if it was basketball. That I think he just pisses people off with some of
There's
the stuff
something
he
about
does.
him, right, that gets under
Yes.
people's skin a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, like you saw his dad, like John at Giannis
yeah.
after the game, and so like the apple and tree, right? It doesn't fall very far.
Well, he's a humble kid, man. Like when he first started off, he was a humble kid, and then when you see him kind of jawing at Dame Lillard, who boxes in the offseason, and turning to the Cavs bench. I personally is like, it's not you. That's not you. That like I love Haliburton as a player, but like that's not you, right? Like I don't. You're
Yeah.
not that guy to just be jaw jacking everybody and doing all that extra stuff. And I think that's why guys voted him overrated because they're like, well, he's not like that. Like to be acting like that. That was, I think, the issue.
I want to thank everybody for joining us live on YouTube. A reminder to hit that like button, subscribe, leave us a comment. We'll throw it up on the show. And if you click on the bell symbol, you'll get notified when we go live. All right, let's talk about that second game tonight. John, it wasn't much of one. After game one, the Nuggets steal one in Oklahoma City. A bunch of stuff had to go right for the Nuggets to win game one, and a bunch of stuff had to go wrong for Oklahoma City. And it was a perfect storm, and they stole one. I think the Nuggets were feeling real good about it. The question, John, that I had, a lot of people had, was how would Oklahoma City respond in game two? Don't forget, in the first round series, they were not tested by the Memphis Grizzlies. They swept them in 4 games and outscored the Grizzlies by 78 points. It was one of the biggest sweeps in NBA history. And people had said there's like the little rumbles, little whispers about, is Oklahoma City just a regular season team? They haven't been tested yet. The Nuggets obviously have that playoff experience. Well, question asked and answered tonight, John. They end up winning this game by 43 points. They had 87 points at the half. That's an NBA record for any half in postseason history. They were up as many as 49 in this game. All 5 of their starters were in double figures at the half. John, this team has not lost back-to-back games since November of last season.
Yeah. OKC showed us who we thought they were. They came out and they made a statement. You want to talk about, taking the life out of a team? Denver's on that plane right now, like, whoo, okay. What happened? Right?
Yeah.
Like SGA is a plus 51 plus minus today. Like that's gotta be
It was
some type of
insane.
record.
So efficient.
Some type of record. I don't know. Plus 51 is just you're 51 points better than him on the court today in how many minutes he played? 30 minutes. But this is the OKC team we thought, they could be, that they are. They're really good at home, especially early. OKC likes to hit you with a punch early, and you got to be able to respond. And if you don't, you see what happens. You lose by, lose by 40, almost 50 points. Like, so there's no team really doing that like that's in the NBA. So it's kind of a scary proposition when you say Oklahoma is playing at their best. They're the best team in the NBA by far, in my opinion.
I think so too. I just wanted to see it against a team that put them on the ropes a little bit, right? I mean, Memphis didn't challenge them at all, except for in that Ja game where Ja got hurt. And, to have Nikola Jokic have a monster double-double in game one and Aaron Gordon hit a game-winning 3, a game that you felt like you were going to win, and all of a sudden it gets snatched away from you. How does a young team respond? They've got the presumptive MVP candidate in SGA. Chet, who I think is their second best player, don't forget he missed those 2 free throws at the end of game one. Like, what was it going through his mind? I wanted to see all these guys respond, and boy, did they tonight. The Thunder, as producer Aaron points out, are the first team in NBA history to win 2 games by 40 points or more in the same postseason. So now all of a sudden, if you had some concerns about Oklahoma City, like would they answer the bell? They did. They looked fantastic. They're the first home team in the semifinals of these postseason to finally win a game at home. So that streak gets broken here. John, if you're the Nuggets, you were saying, you're on the plane, you're wondering what just happened. They had, don't forget, it was game 3 or 4 against the Clippers. I believe it was game 4 where they got throttled in that game, right? And then they just responded and they ended up winning the series. This is an experienced Nuggets team. They're 2 years removed from winning a championship. They've got Nikola Jokic, the best player in the world. He wasn't good tonight, but still, do you think that that's like they do the same thing that they did in the Clipper series? And they're like, okay, this was not our game and we're on to the next.
Yeah, you got to kind of throw this away, flush the film. They just couldn't guard them today. I mean, they had to go zone. I mean,
their defense was bad tonight.
They were trying to double team SGA. He was making the proper pass, 3 balls all over the place. So, I mean, credit to OKC also just going back and correcting some mistakes and having a game plan. And SGA for letting the game, even though he had 30, he was 11 to 13. Like, he really controlled that game. He made the right plays. He helped his teammates. He got out of the way sometimes. He let Jaden Williams come to court, do what he needed to do. So this is a team that, it looks like they're ready. But the Nuggets, they have their championship core still intact. Yeah. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, the Nuggets are a plucky team, and like
Yeah.
Joker just raises the level of everybody else. Although tonight, again, not his best game, 17, 8, and 6. He fouled out in the third quarter, which is something I wanted to ask you about. It's damn near impossible to guard Nikola Jokic.
Mhm.
You're big. What did you see from Chet and Hartenstein and the rest of that team tonight on how they defended Joker? Because they were super physical with him tonight. And obviously they put him in foul trouble and got him out of the game in the third quarter. I thought that the way that they were bumping him and frustrating him was an interesting strategy. They used a bunch of fouls, and like Joker didn't look like himself tonight, and he was coming off a monster in game one.
Yeah, frustration was key. I almost felt like he was trying to foul out. He was bumping guys, jumping on
Yeah.
guys' back, like,
Yeah.
even on the final foul, he gives a hip check, like, Jokic is come on, man, it's Jokic. He
He's
knows.
smarter than that. Yeah. That hip check was I'm going to check out for the night and I'll see you
Yeah,
in
like,
game
"Look,
three.
man, let me get out of here, get out, if coach ain't gonna take me out, I'll take myself out."
I'll take a
So
little rest. Yeah.
exactly. So, you know, I I've had this I haven't seen Jokic frustrated like this in a long time, man. He was really
Mhm.
frustrated out there, and the physicality, and they switched up the looks too. Sometimes they came late in the clock, they would come and then they would fan out. So like credit to OKC, because players like that, when we would play against LeBron, similar, you could not do the same thing every time, or he was going to pick you apart. Sometimes you come down on the catch, sometimes you dig. Hey, sometimes you say one on one. Because if he can start understanding what the defense is doing, it's lights out 42, 22, and 7,
Right.
right?
Right.
So OKC did a good job of switching things up on him, making him think he had 6 turnovers. And if Jokic isn't playing well, we know how much that team needs him to play well, more so than probably any team in the NBA other than Giannis. You're going to lose by 40.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I mean, once they took him out of it, the supporting cast wasn't good, and that's been a theme all season long, John,
Mhm.
where you don't know what you're going to get out of that supporting cast. Game one, they were fantastic. Aaron Gordon was so good. I think he's been really good in the playoffs. He wasn't good tonight, but he hit that game-winning three in addition to having a double-double. Russ was good tonight, but the rest of the supporting cast really wasn't. Jamal Murray had 14 points, just 1 assist. Christian Brown only had 3 points. Let me ask, where are you on Michael Porter Jr.? Because I have been waiting for Michael Porter Jr. to take a step forward in his NBA career for a while now. He's got all the physical tools. I know he's dealing with a shoulder injury, but he has been terrible this postseason.
Yeah, the injuries kind of probably got to be affecting him. And I think the book is out. You see that he's not getting that many open looks. They're running him off the line, full speed too. Like it's not
Yeah.
like they're closing out. They're running him off the line, and he's not able to create at a high level driving to the basket. Like the book is out, right? So if you're Michael Porter Jr., you've got to figure it out, right? You've got to watch film and say, okay, this is how they're playing me. I need to work on maybe drives and maybe finishes and floats or drawing to the defender. So uh, that's all it is. He's 2 of 8 today, but I mean the two he hit were absolutely like tough, like fade leg
Yeah.
up there, like so he's not getting easy shots, and I think that's all it is. Teams are like, we're just not going to let him shoot a three, and then we'll
All
live
right.
through results.
Last one for you here as we wrap up Beyond the Arc on a what day is today? Tuesday, Wednesday? It's a Wednesday, right? We're now into the
Thursday, really, but it's really Wednesday.
yeah, it is. It's Thursday for you. I'm in LA.
Okay.
We're now in the part of the postseason and the playoffs. I mean, like as the playoffs grind on, you're like, what? The days just stop mattering, time stops existing, and you lose track of everything. But as we go into game 3 of this Nuggets Oklahoma City series, you have one close game where the Nuggets steal one in Oklahoma City. You have Oklahoma City answering back and winning one by 43, where they just absolutely crushed and steamrolled the Nuggets. Where are you on this series, and how do you think it's possible for Oklahoma City to replicate keeping Joker at bay in game 3? Because that's really difficult to do. They did it one game, but I'm skeptical that they could do it more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a chess match, right? You look at the film. Okay, this is how they were guarding him, and you change your strategy. You change what you want to do. Maybe get him in a little open space. Maybe clear it out, because it almost seemed like OKC was going to let him kind of score and see what happens first. And then, like I said, there were so many coverages. So I think as if you're Denver, you've got to kind of counter that, maybe put them in different actions, different spots on the floor, switch men around with the low side. I mean, in the playoffs, all that, I mean, it goes all like, hey, look, we want the low man to be, let's say, Jalen Williams. So guess what? We're going to put the guy, like all that stuff is going to go into play. So um, I'm going to, I think OKC is going to win this series,
Me
but
too.
um, I
Denver's
would
going to make it a fight.
yeah, I wouldn't count Denver out. I mean, Clipper series, we thought they were kind of left for dead, and we look up and they're advancing. So it's going to be an interesting series. Kind of the old you got to take down the giant. You got
Yeah.
to take. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call OKC David, but Denver's certainly not Goliath. But that's kind of what I feel right now. Like, hey, OKC's got to you got to beat the champ, and so tonight was a start.
When you have Joker, you got a chance. But yeah, Oklahoma City looked really great tonight. That's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank John Henson for joining us. Go find him over on Twitter. He's also joining us all the time on CBS Sports HQ. And John, you got to come back on Beyond the Arc. This was great, man. Thank you for doing
listen,
this.
man. Listen, I'm anytime you want. I'm about to go watch some Law and Order till I fall asleep, man. So I'm up. I'm a late owl. I'm a night owl. So don't worry. Just call me, man. I'll be here.
I appreciate you, John. That's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back on Beyond the Arc soon. Thanks so much, everybody.